Hey, Fly Girl. I'm René Vengelstork, Aviation CEO, FAA board alum, and high performance coach. Whether you're chasing your first discovery flight or leading at 40,000 feet, this show is your runway for bold career moves, real mentorship, and stories from women rewriting their flight plan. From the cockpit to the control tower, we're building the future of aviation one fly girl at a time. Welcome to the Fly Girls Guide podcast. Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Fly Girls Guide to Aviation Careers podcast. I am talking today to Stacey Brown, and Stacey has been an A&P mechanic for a long time and has held a number of leadership roles in maintenance. Stacey, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
All right, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to the discussion.
Well, I will say I am incredibly appreciative of mechanics because I know the basics enough to be able to fly a small airplane, but there is so much that goes into maintaining aircraft, and not just the aircraft, but the records that have to be kept for security and safety's sake. Tell me how in the world you got interested in doing this in the first place.
Gosh, so I grew up in a military family, so my brother was off in the service. When I was in high school, I decided I wanted to do something with my hands. I'm really good with my hands as far as maintenance work. I had a horse at the time, and I ended up working for a gentleman on a farm. And that gentleman was a mentor to me, and we did a lot of projects together. I worked all summer, and I worked every weekend with him. And he would always ask me questions. Have you ever built a fence, or have you ever, cut rebar? And I would go, no, I haven't. And he goes, here's how you do it. And he would immediately show me, here's how you do it. So working with him for 6 years, I got really, really good at working with my hands, and I did that all through high school. And but when it came time to what are you going to do for the rest of your life, that big discussion of, well, now what am I going to do? I'm out of high school, what am I going to do? College really wasn't for me at the time, but I was really good with my hands, and my family was a military family. So my brother had just gone in the Marine Corps, and at that time I thought, okay, I'll try that. That sounds like a good thing. And the Marine recruiter, they send you through testing, and I had a really good aptitude test that came out of that. And they came to me with this big long list of pick what you want to be and what you want to do for the rest of your career. And I wanted to be a pilot. And they said, I'm sorry, at that time we don't have female pilots. I'm like, heck, but aviation was at the top of the list, and under that pilot was a mechanic. And I said, okay, I'm real good with my hands. Can I work on aircraft? And he said, absolutely, women can work on aircraft. And this was back in the 80s, right? I didn't know any female mechanics, I didn't even know any male mechanics at the time. But it was like, okay, I tested well, I'm really good with my hands. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. And my mom freaked out. She called my uncle, who at that time worked for Northwest Airlines, and said, oh my God, she wants to be a mechanic. And he goes, heaven's sakes, let her go, Nancy. He said, that's a fantastic career. If she's good at it, he said she will have a career for the rest of her life. So he said, let her go. And my mom said, all right, off she goes. And off I went to boot camp, and the rest is history. And I became an aircraft mechanic.
But I looked at your resume. You did eventually go out and get that pilot's license.
I did, yes. While I was in the service, the Marine that came to the house said you can fly on your own. And I met a team of pilots when I was in the service. Matter of fact, Captain Stubbs was our flight instructor. And while we were working on aircraft during the day, we'd go out after work, and then he would teach us how to fly. And at the time I was stationed in Hawaii, when we do our flights around the Hawaiian Islands, it was magnificent. And so I got to fly, and I got to be a mechanic at the same time, so it was fun.
Well, I want to ask you about that. Did it help your mechanic career to actually operate the aircraft?
Yes. Yeah, because once you learn, part about being a pilot is you learn about flight controls and airspeed and the things that are important that you need to know. Same thing you need to know as a mechanic. I mean, and when you can brief a flight crew, and a flight crew can tell you what's wrong with the aircraft, in your mind you can go, yeah, that's right, that's could be a rudder issue, could be flight control issue, could be landing gear. It gives you a different perspective, and it really helps, I think. Plus you speak the same language, which is
I imagine that's incredibly helpful.
yeah.
So, from the Marine Corps, then you've had a career that's moved you from being working hands-on
Yeah.
with aircraft to being more in a managerial role. Tell me about that transition for you.
Yeah.
Was that, do
Yeah.
you miss it? Was it weird? What's that like?
It was different. So I started as a mechanic. I loved working on aircraft, but after a while, what I found was there were things that I liked to do outside of just working on aircraft. Leading people was huge for me. So when I first made the transition into from a mechanic to leadership, I took a job in maintenance training so that I would speak the same language and get to know the aircraft. I was at American Airlines at the time, and I wanted to get out there and get the technical aspect again on the big aircraft because I had it on different aircraft before I went out to the floor, because I thought it would help me transition with the team better if I actually knew the aircraft that they were working on. So I taught as an instructor for several years, maintenance system instructor on aircraft, DC-10s, A300s, MD-11s, and then made the transition to supervision. And it really helped because now I'm speaking the same language. I got a little bit of they knew me by then. They knew what I could do. They knew I could talk the talk and I could walk the walk, and that helped me from a speaking position, leadership position. And then I transitioned out to supervisor on the floor. And what I find is a lot of times mechanics, they like to do the mechanic part of it, but they don't like to fix problems, or they get stymied by administrative stuff, and they get stymied by people who are, we got problems with supply, we got all these sorts of issues, we need somebody to help us figure it out. Well, that was my forte. I'm a problem solver by nature. I like to fix things, whether it's the aircraft or a problem with a process or whatever. And I find that as you're good at that, you can work up your way through different parts of the organization, and it's just the same stuff. You're listening to people, you're listening to what the issues are, you're helping them resolve them, and that's the thing that I really, really, really enjoy, is working with teams. So I just kind of migrated into that.
That's amazing. So, tell me what you're doing now.
So I work for a company called FEAM, Fred and Everett Aircraft Maintenance. It's FEAM. And I'm the general manager for the CVG technical operations. So I have about a team of about 350 some mechanics. So I'm the station manager at this company. So we have two actual areas where we do aircraft cargo support, Amazon, DHL, and we also have a passenger side of the terminal that we work for Frontier. So we provide maintenance support for those customers. And my job is making sure the team has their equipment, tooling, that they're trained, that the customers have who they need and what they need on their contracts. And any issues customers have, they come to me and I help them resolve issues. So it's just when I ride to work, I listen to my music completely random. There's no telling what I'm going to get on my playlist. That's like what my day is. The door opens and people just come in, their hair is on fire, and I deal with that. I just help them figure out what is the issue. Okay, let's deal with that problem. Then we'll go on to the next thing, and then the next thing somebody else comes in and goes, hey, I got a problem with this. Let me deal with that. Let me help you get through that part of the process. Let me help teach you how to get through those types of problems. So it's completely random. It can be anything that comes across your desk at any time.
Never a boring day.
I never sit here and go, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Ever.
Switch up that playlist, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. The playlist is random.
Tell me a couple of kinds of issues that you could be facing on any given day.
Oh gosh, it could be, hey, we just had two tires blow on an aircraft out on the line ramp. We need some help with that particular problem. I was out there just doing a walkthrough, and they were having a problem getting a part out, and they needed somebody with small hands to help hold stuff while they were trying to wrestle with it. So it was like I was out there doing that. It could be, hey, we're looking for parts and we don't know how to find it or where to get it. I can help with those types of problems. Or hey, a customer calls and goes, I need to adjust my schedule, so I'm over here adjusting their schedule. I got to find the right team members to put on the schedule, make sure they got the right training. So it's just completely random.
Hey friends, are you dreaming of a career in aviation or ready to level up the one you've already started?
Whether you're a student, a career changer, or a seasoned pro, you are invited to our free virtual aviation career fair happening November 5th. Meet recruiters from top aviation companies, explore career paths you never knew existed, and even sign up for interviews. It's completely free, but space is limited. Register now at weareflygirls.com/careers and take off toward your future in aviation.
What do you think, Stacey, are the skills? You've said problem solver, and I've heard you talk about building credibility. What do you think are some of the leadership qualities that you have that have served you well over the years?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so much stuff. I did a lot of extra training through my career. I did a lot of continuous improvement training, Six Sigma training, PMP, which is project management training. All of that additional expertise helps you when you're presented with a problem, who to get in the room, what type of skill do those people need, how do you lay out a process, how do you help them define what the issue is, and then how do you go about finding the right people to help fix it, so all of that is stuff that you learn as you go through additional training. And then the fact that you're a leader and you don't mind getting your hands dirty, and you don't mind, reaching in there and go, let me jump in here and help you. Let's just do this together. That has served me well.
I love it. So lifelong learner and team player for sure. I love those attributes. If you were going to go back and maybe take a younger you, or even in your own career, what are some things that you would have done additionally or differently, or maybe opportunities that you wish that you had taken that you didn't? Tell me about that might be helpful for people who are listening to this, who are just getting started in their career.
So what I find, especially with ladies or females, a lot of times they're hesitant to take on a different challenge because they don't feel that they have the skill to do it, right? They may feel that they don't, when they look at a job description, they may go, oh, I only have 10% of this. A gentleman, on the other hand, will go, I only have 10%, but actually in their mind they go, I got 90% and I'm good to go, right? Ladies don't do that for some reason. I don't know why that is, but there are a lot of transferable skills that we have that you could easily fill up a job description or a resume with that may not be specifically what they're calling out. You don't have to go, hey, this line says this. Your skills transfer, right? You just got to figure out how to use your skills in a different environment, right? So what I would say is don't hold yourself back based on what you see. Look at all the things that you're doing in your career, all the things that you've done in your life, and then go, can I provide benefit to that? And can I help that company with whatever it is they're seeing in that person that they need to be in that position, right? So don't hold yourself back. You just look at all the stuff you've done in your life and go, yeah, is it transferable, yes or no? And just go for it. Don't be afraid not to do it, right?
That's such good advice, and I find that's valid across every industry and every job that's out there. A lot of times we sell ourselves short.
Absolutely, yep.
What's the biggest challenge you feel like you've faced, or the biggest obstacle that you've overcome in your career?
Oh gosh, if you would have told me 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I'd been sitting here talking to you, I would have said you're out of your mind, right? Because I'm a very private person, and I did not like to speak publicly, right? So one of the career decisions I made early in my career was I needed to be able to speak in front of people, and I hated to do it. So I took that maintenance training job, right? And once I interviewed for that position and I got it, they called me about 10 minutes later and said, you got the job. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Because now I got to stand up in front of people 40 hours a day, or 40 hours a week in front of a class, teaching something that I don't know. Absolutely didn't know it at the time. So in my mind, I'm freaking out, and I'm an over-preparer, right? So I wanted to make sure that I knew everything possible about that aircraft before I got in front of those people to speak it, right? So I spent my weekends going through systems. I spent my weekend reading manuals, and I make sure that day I would be prepared for that class. Well, my very first class, you sit there and you listen to the instructor and you prepare yourself. And then the next week they're supposed to do where you teach a portion of it, right? So female in a new role, there'd never been a female systems instructor. And 5 minutes into that class, that first day, that male instructor came up to me and he said, I locked my keys in my car and I got to go. And he walked out. You got it. And I was like, okay, here's me who doesn't like to speak in public. Thank goodness I'm an over-preparer. I just want to make sure I'm not standing up in front of a class and don't know what I'm talking about. I got up and I stood in front of class with my book that had been prepared, and I started teaching class. He didn't come back. And about 1 o'clock, my manager called me and said, oh my God, I am so sorry, are you okay? And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, I heard you're by yourself. I said, yeah. He walked out and left me here by myself. And he goes, I'm gonna send somebody. And I said, no, I got it. Don't worry about it, I got it. Perfectly fine. He goes, are you sure? I need to send somebody. I'm like, I got it. I got this. He goes, okay. And I tell you, that poor man went through heck. By the time he went back to the office, and all the men that were over there gave him such a hard time because he just left me. But luckily, I was prepared. And next thing I know, I'm speaking in front of classes and tons of people, 40 hours a week, and it was not a big deal. So to do something out of your comfort zone, which that was way out of my comfort zone, should never stop you from doing something that either would benefit you or that you really like or is really necessary to do. You know what I mean? Something that's needed. Don't hold yourself back. Just do it, and you'll be fine. As long as, like I say, as long as I'm prepared, I was fine.
Yeah, it almost sounds like, and this is true of me too, like perhaps you overanalyze things before you step into them. And I imagine that was probably the best possible way that you could be introduced to that job, just to be dunked into it because you didn't get to think about it for 120 hours before you were standing in front of the class, and you just did it.
Yeah, I wasn't stressed. I didn't have all weekend to think about, oh, Monday I'm going to be doing this. It was, oh, by the way, here it is. It's you. I'm leaving.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Probably a really good management lesson for you when you were managing people later on who were nervous about something or overthought things before they did them. For you just to be able to like drop them in and let them run with it probably was a great life lesson, not just for you, but for others that you've led.
Yeah. Yep. So I would say one of the things that mentor really helped me with when I was going through high school, he never asked, do you think you can do it? When he said, have you ever built a sidewalk? I would say no, and he goes, here's how we do it. He would say, have you ever cut rebar? And I go, I have never cut rebar. And he'd pull up the blowtorch and he'd go, here's how we do it. And he would say, here's how you do it. He would never say, do you think you can do this? Are you prepared to do this? You want to do this? It's like, here's what we're doing this week. I need this help, and here's how you do it. And I would say, if you're working with people, if you've got kids, don't ask them, hey, would you like to? No, just say, hey, we're doing this weekend. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we do it. And I think it builds confidence because he taught me I could do it. There was never a question of whether I could do it because he'd always say, here's how you do it.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So how did you apply that in your leadership role?
Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of folks that I've coached over the years through a lot of difficult situations, right? And just because of my background, it doesn't bother me being in front of a group that's having a problem, right? So I've been in some situations where I've had young leaders and sitting there, and I try to tee them up. Okay, I want you to do this. Here you go. I want you to get in front of this group, and I want you to work through this problem, and I want you to listen to them, and I want you to take notes, and we're going to go, after this, we're going to go do something. So I was in this particular meeting, and it was a surly group. I mean, this group was surly. They were mad. They were in a situation they didn't like. They didn't want to make change, and they didn't understand. Everything was all honked up. So I was trying to watch and coach this young leader, and he got stuck because they were getting really, really, really mad. He got stuck, and I could tell he was about to lose it in front of this group. And I just looked over and I, hey, would you mind if I just take a moment and jump up here and walk through this with this group. Just a second, would you mind me doing that? And he just looked at me and goes, no, go ahead. So I jumped up there in front of this team, really surly group. You are 100% right. All of these issues, you are 100% right. You didn't create them. The company created them, but we got to work through them. I'm here to help you work through them. So could you take time with me and this person, and let's just walk through them, because I want to know which ones we can impact immediately, which ones can I help you that are the most significant for you. And we walked through that whole exercise, took a bit. They walked out of the room, and this gentleman was sitting next to me, and after they left, I go, how do you think that went, right? What do you think about that conversation? He goes, I was about to lose it. He goes, I was about to tell all those people in that room something. He goes, and that shouldn't have. But he goes, I have never seen anybody just go, here's what we're doing. Here's how we're doing it. Calm, walk through that whole thing. I said, would you think you could do that at the next one? Because, I can't be here for every meeting. Do you think you could do that at the next one? He goes, yeah, I think I could do that. He goes, I've just never seen anybody demonstrate that or do that. And he goes, he said, I was amazed, because he said, I was about to shut this thing down.
Yeah, it's like you kept your eye on the ball, and everyone else gets distracted by the noise.
Yeah, and it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
Just learn it. You just have to learn how to do it. Right?
I love it. This is an incredible lesson, the tutorial in leadership here. I'm really appreciating all of these things. But I want to get back a little bit to the career. My curiosity got the better of me with that. What's something that you're really proud of doing, like a moment you were proud of, or an accomplishment that you're incredibly proud of in your career?
Yeah, so I love teams. I love working with teams. When I can walk on the hangar floor and people go, it really makes a difference that you're here, and we see a change that you're here, that makes me the proudest. To be able to make an impact, because my career choices have always been on where can I make the biggest impact. And this one right here was the one that I said, okay, I think I make the biggest impact on the most people. And this is the one I chose. But so to see people, and actually have people get the feedback of, hey, that really made a difference. That to me makes me the happiest to see that happen. One of the personal accomplishments I was recognized as a STEP award winner, which is a science technology STEP engineering and production STEP. It's a STEP award. They award it to 50 ladies that in the industry, different industries, as leaders throughout the year for their career. So I got selected for that, and I was awarded that. So personally, that was really, really important for me to see that, because it recognized the leadership aspect of it.
I love it. If you were going to advise someone who's a young mechanic now, how to progress in their career to be in a leadership position and really have the kind of impact that you have, what would be the couple of things that you would advise them to do?
Yeah, so there are so many things. Sometimes people think that I don't necessarily want to be just a mechanic, right? Some people are like, maybe do that for a bit, but there are so many career options than just being a mechanic. The mechanic part is fantastic because it ties you into all these different groups. So I would say, if there's things you like to do, you mentioned records, you mentioned planning parts of the aircraft, planning a workload for the aircraft, helping mechanics with workload instruction, quality, compliance. All those things are part of aircraft maintenance. So if you get into the career and you go, you know what, this is, I really don't like the fuel smell or the oil smell, or having to change my clothes before I go home, or my fingernails look nasty because they're all greasy and I can't even go to the store on the way home. There are other parts of aircraft maintenance that are phenomenal careers that are still part of the big picture, right? Whether it's an airline or whether it's a maintenance repair facility, they all have these other career options that a maintenance background is really critically important for. Whether it's engineering or supply chain, having a maintenance background is fantastic for those types of careers as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So really getting in and exploring the different
Yes.
places that you can go
Yeah.
with that foundation.
Yeah,
of
so many
maintenance.
options. Because, it all comes down to the person on the aircraft trying to repair it. All these support functions are part of that and a piece of that team. And that person cannot do what they need to do without all of those support functions assisting and helping them.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Stacey, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. I've loved learning more about your journey and about all the different options available in maintenance. And I appreciate knowing that if I ever fly through Cincinnati, I'm going to have a great experience because you've impacted
I'll be
the
here.
maintenance teams there.
Yeah, and we love what we do. And we're very good at what we do here. So.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. For additional resources, head over to flygirlsguide.com. If you're inspired to pursue a path in aviation or want to support the women who do, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. And if today's conversation sparked something for you, share it with a friend. It's one of the best ways to grow the Fly Girls Guide community. Until next time.